Good morning, welcome back to Sewing Street. Well, I say welcome back. I've not been here for a week. It's been lovely to have your company. Right, so last time I saw you, I couldn't tell you where I was going because it was a surprise for my husband Kieran, but I've been in Vegas for a week. I've just told Jane and she went, oh, after the show, I've got to tell you a story. I said, have you been? She was like, oh yes, I've been. I need to tell you, I'm with Jane Greenoff today. We've got a brilliant show, and as I say, it's lovely to be back with everybody. I hope you've had a lovely week with our gorgeous John. Isn't he doing amazing? I was texting him last night. Look, this is what I always do. I was texting him. I was on the computer and I was texting him. My phone's very big. I was texting him last night and he was saying how much he's thoroughly enjoyed it, and especially all of your messages of encouragement have really helped him, because it is very daunting and it's very nerve-wracking the first time you stood here on your own. So yeah, thank you for sending all in the messages and keep them coming in for him, because we love him. We absolutely love him. So what have I got to tell you? Today's show is going to be brilliant. Jane Greenoff is back. For anybody that missed out on her Stitch Bible, the 4th edition, we've got it back, and she's been signing them upstairs for us. So we're going to be bringing those in. If you've got any questions for Jane, then do get them in. There's a couple of ways of doing it. Well, actually, at the moment, there is one way of doing it on our Facebook page, which is Sewing Street TV. Oh gosh, bring John back. Get me back to Vegas. Facebook.com/Sewing Street TV. That is our Facebook page. There's also a fan page though, if you do want to send in any messages via that way. If you are watching on, anything can happen today. I'm still slightly jet lagged, only landed back last night, so anything could happen today. I'm pleased that we're only doing an hour. I know you've been doing a few 2-hour specials, but yeah, 1 hour, we can do it. So also, if you're watching on Freeview, there's now a couple of other ways of watching, and I noticed that Neil has done a bit of a tutorial video of how you can watch on Now TV, which is exciting. So our website, at the moment, just so you're aware, if you're tuning in maybe for the first time, as we're only 3 weeks old, it was our 3-week birthday anniversary yesterday. If you want to go to our website, it will redirect you to a jewellery maker page, but don't worry, that is the website that we're using at the minute. At the moment, it's only coming up with, I think it says, I don't know why I've only got Wonder Clips. I think maybe John had searched for a code of Wonder Clips, but you will see all of the products from today's show. I think I've been missing Wonder Clips. There you go. So if you go to sewingstreet.com, they are wonderful, by the way, it will take you to jewellery maker page. It will have us where you can watch us live, and then also all of the products from today's show and everything from the last week as well underneath us, so you can catch up. So if you are watching us on Freeview, there's now other options. Tell your friends, watch us on Sky. You can watch us on Sky 670, or also on YouTube as well, where you can subscribe and watch all of the shows back. But today, as I say, we've got the gorgeous Jane Greenoff. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I haven't been to Vegas recently, though.
I can't wait to hear these stories.
Later. Hi, everybody.
Are they not morning television sort of kind of
actually,
stories?
It was really just about how clever it is there, where you can stay. We stayed with the children as they were then, sort of 12 and 6, in a motel, or hotel rather, and it was very cheap.
Yeah.
They had a bedroom of their own with 2 queen-size beds in it, and hot chocolate machines.
Oh, wow.
And everything was marvellous. But, of course, you spend the money you would have spent on the hotel gambling.
Oh, gosh.
Yes, I think we gambled about $20. I mean, we weren't going mad.
Yeah, that was it. I was doing my 25 cents in the slot machines, like, come on, mega bucks. But, no.
You can't beat Vegas.
No, you can't. How are you anyway? You've been busy, haven't you?
Very busy. This last fortnight's been crazy. We had the Stitch Festival at the Design Centre Islington, which went very well.
Brilliant.
Although, I'm going to say it in public, the aisles were too narrow.
Okay.
The aisles were too narrow. They know, everyone told them. The crowds, you couldn't get to a stand to shop because you were being
very busy.
Yes, absolutely. Anyway, so yes, in touch wood, we're all staying well. I'm not even going to mention the thing. No. Because we can't.
No.
Anyway, yes, we're fine. We're fine. We're good.
And you're building your brand new website at the minute, aren't you?
We are, yes. That's very exciting. I'm not saying much more, but it'll be janegreenoff.com in the fullness of time.
Very
nice and easy to find me. I'm very fortunate my husband was called Greenoff, because we are the only ones. If you put that into Google, get me or my son.
No way.
He's a photographer.
Gosh, that is good, isn't it?
It's handy, isn't it?
Yeah, like a superstar.
If it was Smith, there's a lot of you.
No, there's only one Jane Greenoff.
There is only one Jane Greenoff.
And so, Jane Greenoff, for anybody that's not seen Jane before, you're the founder of the Cross Stitch Guild.
Yes. I started a needlework business in 1983, cross stitch business, and then in 1996. Just before, on March the 16th, 1996, the Cross Stitch Guild was launched. And the actual reason for that was that somebody came up to me at a retail fair and sat in tears, really upset. And she'd been elsewhere at the show, I won't mention any names, and she was told that her cross stitch wasn't real embroidery. And I was absolutely incandescent. I just thought that was really rotten. Yeah. Anyway, I came home and got advice about how and what and when, and that's what we started then, and we have members all over the world, which is wonderful.
Because the Cross Stitch Guild isn't just for, people who have been stitching for years and years. It's
Somebody asked me recently if you had to do a test, and the answer is no. No, the Cross Stitch Guild is there for people who love to work counted embroidery.
Yeah.
And by counted, I mean that it starts off as a chart with blank fabric without a transfer on. You remember the iron-on transfers?
Yeah.
Well, you don't get a transfer with counted embroidery. And what's happened with the Cross Stitch Guild since that time is it's turned into anything that's counted, and we're going to look at our strawberry book in a minute, which gives you a very good idea of all the different things the Cross Stitch Guild does.
You've stepped sort of aside from the Cross Stitch Guild in recent years, haven't you? But you're still very, very much involved. In fact, they can't get rid of you, can they?
No, I'm afraid not. I remember my advisor and accountant saying to Andrea Thompson, who bought it, be careful, she'll interfere, get rid of her quite quickly. And of course that's not what's happened.
No, so, you're still very much involved, aren't you? You're the
designer. Yes.
So everything that you're going to see, are your designs, aren't they? This one is actually a really
well, this is a bit special. This is a very simple project, you can see, but the lovely Vicky's going to hold up the reason for it.
This is incredible, isn't it? No, this is yours, isn't it?
This is mine, yes. I bought this. I'm not going to tell you how much it cost. Many, 20 years ago probably. And it was stitched by a girl of about 7 years old.
Oh, there's her name, look at the bottom, Catherine Archer.
Yes, Catherine Archer. She was born of labouring parents who lived up in Shotley, Northumberland. We know that because we contacted the Muller Trust, and they had her registration details when she came to them when she was 7. She was born in Shotley. Her mother died of puerperal fever at 6 weeks, which was common then, and her father died when she was 3. So we don't know how she got from Northumberland to the Bristol orphanage, which is where she was when she stitched this.
Gosh, do you know what? She had amazing eyesight.
I know. When you look at her, I'm just going to put the big sampler down for a second, because I just want to show you one thing. I've just stitched this morning.
What will this been stitched on, Jane?
72 count linen, without electric light and magnifiers.
That's crazy.
It's tiny. And what happened was that the older children would teach the younger children, and those samplers are now incredibly collectible. And I have to tell you that I was on eBay one day having a little look round, and there was something that was obviously a Muller sampler. And the man who put it up there said, piece of red embroidery, a tenner or something. So I contacted him and said, you're missing a trick here. Yeah. This is from the Muller orphanage in Bristol.
Gosh, that's very good of you.
Well, I noticed there were 24 watchers, so other people had already spotted what it was. And I said, contact the Muller Trust immediately and they'll tell you. And he sort of sent me a very, not dismissive, but an email back. So, well, I'll look into it. I don't suppose I'll hear from them. And half an hour after he emailed them, they gave him all the details of the child who'd done it.
Oh, wow.
And he took it off. He took it off straight away.
Yeah.
Yes, anyway, so I worked that little that's the letter E.
Oh, I love it.
Which is that letter E.
Right.
So that, if you see it there, that gives you an idea. This is worked on 14 count Ada. Can you see the difference in the size?
So we do have options of being able to do this sampler, don't we?
Exactly.
So on Ada or on linen. So the one that you're holding up, is that on an Ada?
This is on the Ada.
Yeah, let's start with Ada.
Yes, so you can work it. So if you wanted to do this sampler, I learnt counted cross stitch when a girlfriend showed it to me. In her, my little son must have been 2, lying on the floor, you know, in his nappy at her house. We're having coffee and chat.
Yeah.
And she showed me how to do it, and it was like a light bulb moment, you know. And I didn't know about the Aida fabric then,
No.
so I started it on linen.
So would you recommend for anybody who is starting
If you're a
out,
bit nervous,
potentially start on the
yes.
Aida?
Yes, if you're not sure, start on the Aida.
So you get Aida in here, you also get your stranded cotton, you
And
get
the
your chart
yes.
as well. Let me pop that
Yes,
down
do.
slightly.
There
Very
you go.
precious about your picture.
Yes, I'll just move that, actually. Sorry, everybody. I'm just going to pop that down there where we, you know,
Yeah,
where
don't
it
put it
is.
in me, I've got jet lag.
Crash.
So this is 28 count, no.
Yeah, this was
is
the 14 count.
14 count Aida.
This is often something that gets people confused.
Right.
14 count Aida is the same as 28 count linen if you're working over 2 threads, which you would be in this project.
And will it work at the same
Yes.
size as
Well,
the linen?
Yes, if you look at that, I can prove it. Where's the letter E? D, E.
Do you know what? I do like that it's not as tiny as Catherine's.
Yeah, yes, yes. We have worked
We're about
on
one
it,
of our
but
size.
we have. They've been put on with elephant spit.
This is. Did you say this was an open one, Hannah?
Hang on, you can use these, but we won't tell anybody.
She says, I opened the box, but I thought you'd be able to manage
I've
the
got a
envelopes.
whisker there. Look, something's coming undone there.
You're right, Jane. These are okay.
They-
It's only because I'm.
These polypropylene bags are done like this because, sadly, people used to nick things out of them.
Right. So yeah,
In
they are
shops,
very
in
secure.
shops.
They are very
So they're
secure.
very well stuck down now.
Yeah, not
Yes.
just in the studio.
Not here, obviously, no. In the days when we supplied the needlework shops.
Okay.
There you are. So there's your hank of thread.
Nice. And then all of your charts as well.
Yes.
Which is so lovely and clear, again with symbols, which
Yes.
yeah.
It's an interesting one, this. Most cross-stitchers, experienced stitchers, prefer black and white charts. A, because you can tell the difference. Now, in this case, it doesn't matter if it's all in red. But if you're doing something with masses of different colours, then sometimes the colours are very similar, aren't they? I can show you an example of that, a hand-painted one in a minute. So if it's a symbol, you can tell exactly which colour you're working from. I mean, here's an example. Look, just to prove
See,
the point.
those pinks are quite similar, aren't they? And
Yes.
the greens, yeah.
And there's the shade numbers, and I've just popped the symbols for the little thing I'm working down the side, so I can tell the difference. But they're all still crosses. You know, it's not more complicated than that.
But also, you can colour in, I suppose, when
Yes,
you've done it.
a pencil or a highlighter pen.
Yeah.
If you're stitching something complex, probably don't need it with this. But it's that business, isn't it? The phone rings and
Yeah.
you come back and you're in the wrong place.
This isn't going to be something that you just do in an afternoon.
No,
This is
no.
going to be a bit of a slow stitch, which I love. Do you still
Yes.
stitch to relax?
Oh yes, very much so.
Yeah.
It's funny. There's a lot of talk now, isn't there, about mindfulness and well-being, and physical and mental well-being. And I think back to, let's just say, James was 4. And he's now 39 this year. When he was 4, he had some surgery.
Right.
And I sat with my back to the clock and I just stitched. I remember I stitched the front top bit of the Liberty building for them.
Wow.
In Regent Street. And I sat and stitched that in black and cream. And it was just that business. And the numbers of people who said to me over the last 30 years that their stitching saved them. And it sounds dramatic, but I understand it.
Yeah.
You know, with illness or being less able, or
Yeah.
something wrong with you,
Yeah.
or being widowed, heaven forbid. Stitching has kept people going.
Oh, absolutely.
Long evenings, you know, where you wouldn't have anything to do. Yes, I mean, it certainly has been very, very important to me, not just professionally. You know, my husband was diagnosed with cancer 13 years ago and had 5 hours, 40 minutes surgery. And I sat again with my back to the clock and just sat and stitched. and it just got me through the awful stuff.
Do you know what? Just the channel and the community that we've got here, I really hope that if somebody is watching that just thinks, do you know what, I'm going to have a go and
It is
pick up a new hobby and
it is addictive. You've
Yeah.
got to be
comes
be
with an
warned.
addiction warning. But also, like the reason that Steve Bennett was so passionate about opening Sewing Street was because of that. He's so passionate about mindfulness. We live in such a fast-paced world,
I know.
and it's really important
It's
to
not
look
getting
after your
easier.
mind.
Absolutely.
And
It's not
do a
getting
bit of slow
easier, is it?
stitching. I think cross stitch is perfect for that. So, I mean, this is the E that's
Yes.
on Ada. Just to give you a bit of an example. We also have linen. So, if anybody wants to have a go at, creating, it does give you a bit more of an aged look, I think, when
Yes,
you're doing it
yes.
on linen. Is this sample on linen?
Yes, this is on linen, yes.
Right, so this is the linen pack that you're going to get. It's got all of your instructions with your chart, your linen and your skein. So exactly the same, all that's different is your linen.
That's right.
And I think this is sort of classic cross stitch. And then once you've got the alphabet, I suppose you've got the alphabet to reuse it.
Keep using it. Yes, just cards for people. I mean, that little E, I nearly did a V for you this morning.
Thank you.
But actually, I didn't like the letter as much. I thought the E was pretty.
That's fine.
But, that could just go in a little card, couldn't it, for somebody?
Absolutely.
A gift tag.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
Yeah, that's it. You can start just doing, like you said, cards or tags or just little wall hangings for newlyweds or new babies. Possibilities. Then once you've got this pack with the alphabet in, then you've got your numbers, you've got everything in there. £17.99. Just keep your chart. We've got a message from who? Sorry, Gail. Hi, Gail. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
She says, "What a nice birthday treat! Oh, happy birthday!
Well done.
Watching Jane Greenoff."
Hi.
And hopefully not spending too much, she said. She says, I can't resist though. I can't resist her fabulous kits. They are
Bless you.
brilliant.
Well, happy birthday to you.
Yeah, happy
I've got
birthday.
a big one coming this year.
Have you?
Yes, oh dear, oh dear.
21?
Oh, if only. No, sadly not.
Oh, gosh. Let's all go to Vegas. It makes you feel so much better in Vegas.
Well, we're hoping the family, my kids and their kids and partners, we're hoping we're going to borrow a very dear friend's home in Spain
Oh, nice.
for 4 or 5 days to
that'd be
celebrate.
lovely.
But of course, with what's going on in the world at the moment, who knows?
Well, yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Okay. Let's go to the 4th edition book because we had this last time you were here and it completely sold out. So
Yes.
you've been busy signing
Yes,
again this
I
morning
have.
for us, haven't
this,
you?
This really goes on to explain about what the Cross Stitch Guild is, and that is any stitch that's counted,
Okay.
as opposed to something embroidery where you're working on really fine fabric and you've got a drawing on it and you're covering the drawing is one way. This is counting the threads in the
So
material.
why was it, the first lady that you met that said, I was told that my embroidery wasn't cross-stitch. What was hers then?
Hers was cross-stitch,
Cross-stitch, yeah.
And someone in another guild said that that's not really embroidery.
Oh.
And I just thought, you can embroider a story.
Yeah.
How can you dare? If you're decorating something, you're embroidering it, aren't
Yeah,
you? A story,
absolutely. Yeah.
a cake.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was shocking.
Yeah. So cross-stitch
And
is, of course, a
inappropriate.
part of embroidery, yeah.
And I'm not suggesting that everybody will love to do counted cross-stitch and that's all they'll do. Lots of people use it as a springboard to move on to other things. Yeah. And I'll show you that in a second.
See, I love how inclusive you are.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so.
absolutely. You are.
I'm not very good at... I can't do cartoon-type figures. And I'm not very good at ducks with bows under their chins and rabbits with clothes on.
Yeah.
But that's because I can't draw. That's what it's about, really. So this book... There you are. Look, that's me signing the new edition when it arrived. That's that's my dining room table.
Oh, brilliant.
And we've put my signature
This
in
wasn't
there.
this morning, was it, you signing them?
No.
No, you weren't.
This was...
Hannah said you weren't a smiley this morning signing them all.
Actually,
You didn't have your handbag, did you? You hadn't had your breakfast.
I left home without my handbag, so no breakfast.
I've got some porridge.
No hairbrush.
Oh no. You look lovely. You look great. You look great. You could have bought Paul's hairbrush.
I could have, yes.
He has a
Paul.
full hair and beauty section here in this building, doesn't he? So, this is the 4th and final edition.
Yes. The reason I say final is that this is as many pages as I can get in this ring binding.
And you want to do it on a ring binder, don't
Because
you?
if it's something you're learning or refreshing, because you haven't done it for ages, I mean, that's a classic with me. I know how to do that. But can you think I know how to start it when I start it after a while? So
Yeah.
I get this out and look. There's room on here for you to scribble.
So actually you'd say that this isn't just necessarily for somebody that is starting out, but
this is
as a great
no.
refresher.
I mean, there's Holly Point Stitch, with a bit of a brute, frankly. All sorts of different. Now, all these drawings are done for us by a wonderful fellow called Ethan Danielson, who I worked with now for 27 odd years. And he draws it so that you can see the threads. There's even Hardanger.
Gosh.
And the other thing that I think is jolly handy, if I just go to the back of the book, we've got extra bits and bobs. This is where members have written and said, can you put it in how to do whatever, like how to make the twisted cords, like this one.
Oh, yes.
You know, just how to make a twisted cord.
Oh, brilliant. So
how to make tassels.
The what bow, by the way, is coming up.
Yes.
And I saw on the end...
How to make a biscornu,
which is one of these. Sorry, there's your twisted cord. There's your biscornu.
There's a what bow, how to make a what bow.
What bow?
How to make a humbug, about washing
What's
and
a
ironing.
humbug?
Well, it's a different shape. Another shape. Do you know what a mint humbug looks like? Well, you can do scissor keepers in the same shape.
Brilliant.
Making cards.
Did you just say washing and ironing?
Yes.
I love that.
I know lots of you know how to wash and iron. There are things you do and don't do when you're doing your embroidery.
Right.
And it's in there.
Brilliant. So it covers everything.
I hope so. So this is the 4th one we've done. And as I said, my intention is this is it, because the next one of these is much bigger, and then it gets a much bigger book. This goes
so therefore
in
it's
your
not
work
pocket
bag.
size, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. My scruffy copy on my desk is scribbled? There's an interesting... Scribbled.
And?
Scrabbled and scribbled. I have to think about that one. I'm doing this a lot lately. But you can see
together.
all these different stitches. There's hemming.
Oh yeah, so hemming's another thing that you say that actually you have to go back to. You have to look at the book to see.
I can't tell
how
you
started
how many times. If it's handy, I'll show you. There's one particular one.
Just remember, this one sold out last time. We've managed to get certain... I mean, I don't think there's going to be enough to go around. There's a limited number that we've managed to bring back, so
I had to get them in my car at 5 o'clock this morning. So, yes, that one there.
So that's the cut hem stitch.
Yes. If you, I can't tell you how many times that I've set off to start doing that and gone, okay, which way do I do this? And that's this stitch round the edge. Where you can cut it off without it fraying.
Oh, see, these are really useful as well. So if you're making little sampler books or little needle cases,
bookmarks,
and all sorts, anything, just to finish your end.
Yes, absolutely.
Finish your edges, little gifts. These are great. Without buying a whole new kit, you know, you can start
doing all sorts of different
learning
things.
all these transferable skills and making your own little gift ideas. There's all of the skills in that book for just £12.99. It's brilliant value as well.
I hope so. I hope so. I was well pleased with it, I have to say.
We've got 2 messages coming for you, Jane. First of all, hello Tracy. Good morning, Tracy.
Morning.
Tracy has said, Jane, you're her biggest inspiration.
Biggest being the operative word, but we won't go there. All
No,
right?
don't be...
Thank you. You're very kind. You're very kind.
And then the next question. Hello, Leslie. Good morning, Leslie. She's asked, in the book,
Yes.
do you have colonial knots
Yes.
and French knots? The amount of times that we have questions about colonial knots and French knots for you, is this something that you get asked at shows?
Yes. I think we counted at one show. I did 176 demonstrations of the French knot.
Gosh. So what's the difference between a colonial knot and a French knot?
I have to show you.
Oh, okay.
All right. Yes, they are in the book, and I'll show you.
Brilliant. They are in the book. You'll have that reference, so then when you get home. But also, don't worry, you don't need to follow Jane around the country. You can either get her on YouTube and just keep remember it, and you've also got the book. Let's see if I can find where it is, and we'll watch Jane do it as well.
So go in the go in the index and the C for colonial.
Thanks.
Dear, you can't get the stars.
Colonial tent stitch. No.
Not. Honestly.
Got it.
I know it's there. There. Right, I've got a piece of linen and I'm going to show. So I'm going to put the knot on the front. This is called an away waist knot because it's going to be away and I'm going to waist it.
So just in a big chunky knot on the end.
All right. So I've got 2 strands on my doings, on my needle. So a colonial knot, you go like that and through next door. And then I'm just going to hold the fabric gently underneath.
Now these are decorative knots. This isn't how you start, or this is your decorative.
So that's a colonial knot. I'll do it again. So go under. It's almost like doing a figure of 8 on the needle. Whoops, when it falls off. 1, 2. And I post it just next door. Now if you look at an embroidery book, they show you going down the same hole.
Yeah, yeah.
But actually we're working on an open weave fabric, so you don't want it to go through. On a very fine lawn, you do use a sharp needle. This is blunt.
Right.
Because we always work with blunt needles.
We'll go through the needles in a minute, actually.
Yes, absolutely, of course. So I do my... Now, I learnt French knots because I lost the plot one morning. It was 2 in the morning, and I'd been stitching to get something finished. I was at deadline for a book, and I was doing a crib board for a game sampler, and it was covered in French knots. And they were all on the back or on the thread.
Right.
And I thought, right, okay, I'm going to learn a way.
Yeah.
So this is the way I do it. I'm not saying it's the right way.
So you hold...
All right, I'll do that again. I've got the eye of the needle under my thumb.
Okay.
Round the needle twice. Then I'm just going to post the point, again just next door. Now if you pull that nice and snug on the needle, and then pull it through. And hang on to that leading thread for a bit. There you are.
So what's the difference between French knots and colonial knots? So they look slightly different,
yes,
don't
and
they?
if you look at them closely, it's very difficult to tell from there. And certainly if you found colonial knots easier to make, do those.
They're your colonial knots, and that's your French knot.
So if I do another French one for you...
They look very similar on screen, but you can actually see the difference.
You can see the difference. And actually, the other thing I would say is I'm using a gold needle. That's not just because I like them. It's because they come off, the threads come off the needle more easily than if you use a nickel-plated one. Post the point.
It was Sue, wasn't it? Was it Sue who asked us? Sue, so you've got your colonial knot, which they're on 29, and then you've also got on page 47 your reference point, just to go back to. If you've got a pattern, because they don't always break down how to do it in a pattern. They'll just say French knots here, and you're thinking, right, how do I do that?
Absolutely. Now, all the guild kits come with what we call our counted thread instructions.
Okay.
And it's a sheet of A4 with all sorts on it, and the French knot is included on there with instructions. What I was going to say to you all was, when you're making these knots, avoid doing more than 2 winds on your needle. Because if you do, if you roll up a paper, you can push it out at the top. Well, the same thing happens with your threads, and they untangle. So if you need big knots, use more thread.
Not more wraps.
Not more, exactly.
With you, okay. So
2 twists on the needle.
You've also got your French knots.
So there you go. I'll just go round twice, post the point, like so, and then give it a little pull. So this is a piece of 28 count linen I'm working on here. There you are.
It's lovely in the middle of flowers, and even just to embellish already, just to be able to know how to do it on fabric as well.
Yes, absolutely. And, eyes on people. I mean, there's all sorts of occasions when... The other thing is that sometimes it can add a dimension to your stitching. I'm trying to think if I've got anything with me. I don't think I have today, but sometimes I will, for instance, dandelion heads. They're very pretty, aren't they? I tend to work those by... I would outline the shape, so the backstitch line, just with one strand of something, and I'd just sit and fill that with French knots
And it gives it
and perhaps
texture.
beads.
Yeah. Oh,
Randomly,
nice.
just
Yeah.
fill them and maybe use ecru, white, and maybe a beige, and it would give you something very different than just a cross-stitched one.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Anyway, so that's
Feel free
the
to
point of the
embellish.
book. So we were, yes, I'm well pleased with it. As I said, it started, this book actually, because my Cross Stitcher's Bible had gone out of print, and I won't go into the conversation I often have with publishers because it is often quite challenging. Because if it's not in print, the publishers have to give you back the rights.
Okay.
But if it's going to be printed on demand, that is 12 copies at a time, they don't have to give you back their rights. It's quite a complicated arrangement.
So has that stopped being printed now?
No, it is.
It's printed
I believe
on demand.
I believe it is now gone back into print again.
Okay.
But when it was out of print, and I thought I wanted to do something just called the Stitch Book.
Yeah.
Very uncomplicated, and one stitch on a page. So you just get the one you want and do it. And actually, it's been ever so. The idea has worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea's worked.
Oh,
People do like it.
It's been so popular, so popular. And again, there's a lot of you that's got it in your basket, so do be aware that we've got a limited number today. It sold out last time Joan was here, just £12.99, and packed full of great stitches, 120 illustrated stitches in there, so that is brilliant. Can we talk about needles then? Because I know you were mentioning needles. So gold plating, I know a lot of people know about these already, but we're getting new people coming in all the time, and also people who come back and say, right, I need more, because I don't know where else you can sort of get this quality.
As far as I know,
needle.
we're the only ones.
There you go. So this is why we have
it was
a lot
an
of people come
accident
back.
of fate that we had a lot of gold put on, and this goes back 25 years now, and I don't know how many thousands we've had done. We get our needles from John James, who are very local, and we have them gold plated.
It's probably something you initially sort of overlook when you're starting out cross-stitching, but actually the importance of it, you wouldn't look
it's interesting that when I got ready this morning, I picked up needles from my little needle book on my desk, and they're all gold.
Yeah.
So yes, they're gold-plated to 2 microns, and we have them done in batches, and we get a little certificate for each batch, and they keep back a few in a sample with a batch number on it, so that if we did have a problem, and we've never had a problem in all those years.
When you say a problem, you mean like the gold coming off?
Or the eyes. The only issue we've ever had is the size 28, which is the tiny one, this end.
Right.
That is the needle that you would use for backstitch with one strand in it.
Right.
Well, if you force 3 through it, the eye might break.
Right, I'm with you.
Yes, so you've got a selection in there. You've got
talk me through which ones.
Right, well, you've got a beading.
Oh, they all say here actually.
Yes,
beading
they're in
needle.
that order. So there's a beading needle to add your beads to your project. There's the embroidery needle. That's a sharp. So that's, for instance, when you might be making up the box.
Okay.
Or putting felt in a needle book.
Yeah.
Where your blunt needle won't do it.
Right.
And then you've got a size 22, which is for the Hardanger embroidery, which we'll talk about in a minute. The curved needle is a later addition because of me making boxes, and they're actually quite useful for making up boxes like this. You can get at it,
Yeah.
And of course,
that is useful.
I go back to my nursing days when, of course, a lot of curved needles were used to stitch people
up.
Yes, that's right. And then you've got 24s, 26s and 28.
26 and then 28.
So 24 is probably the commonest if you were buying a needlework kit. It would most likely be that. 26 is possibly slightly nicer to use, but it's very much a matter of opinion. I would use the 24 for my knots to get nice chunky ones.
Okay.
And maybe mix it up with some very fine ones. That's the way you sort of work. And if you don't know about your needle size, there's one easy way of telling. So what 2 things I can tell you actually. One is that if you don't know how many how many sewing threads to use, how many strands, you want to take a piece off your linen, and the weight of the embroidery thread needs to be about that weight. So that's quite useful. Now, obviously, if you're trying to make something chunkier, then you would add to it. But that's what I would use as a sort of basic plan. And then if I grab that needle, you want to be able to pass it through the fabric without enlarging the hole and without it falling through. So you can tell, depending on your...
Is that a 24?
That's a 26.
26. So that would be ideal for your linen.
Ideal for my linen.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just perfect.
So why is it? It's not just because
they're pretty.
It's gorgeous to have them gold plated or a bit of a novelty.
It's interesting that the people who tried them over the years at the Guild, I mean, we've got a cross-stitch Guild weekend coming up with 60 ladies at a Hilton hotel, and I know that 90% of the women there will have lots of their gold needles with them, and they wouldn't use anything else. After buying them or getting them as a gift or something. The coefficient of friction is less.
Right.
That actually means it slips through the fabric nicely.
I was going to say, that sounds very scientific, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
absolutely. So it goes through the fabric nicely. Obviously, if you're making knots, any sort of knot, they slip off the needle perfectly. They don't mark your material. I will often have more than one needle going at a time with different colours in it, and if you leave a nickel-plated needle in your fabric, it sometimes leaves a mark.
Right, good point.
Some people, I'm one of them actually, if I use a nickel-plated needle for quite a long time, and being a woman of a certain age, getting a bit hot and bothered, I get the sort of black marks on my fingers, and it can get on your stitching. So I would always use a gold-plated one. And as I said, when we first got them done, when I first found a gold plater who didn't laugh at me and said that he would plate me 1,000 size 24 needles, he sort of said, "How much gold do you want?" I mean, I had no idea what to ask for.
No, what does it come in?
What does it come in? Pounds, ounces, grams?
Much,
I didn't know. And he said, well, the Ministry of Defence have 2 microns of gold on detonators for grenades. And I said, that's what I want.
Of course you did. Of course that's what I want. Just that.
That's what I want.
Military stuff.
And I mean, I had no idea that was a lot of gold.
Yeah.
As it turns out.
It was a lot of gold.
But because he said, do you want it to come off? And I mean, when I tried samples in America, which I had done, when Lulu was 5 months old, and she's 32 this year. She was 5 months old that first trip to America, and I had a day off with a girlfriend visiting needle workshops to look at what was around. And someone asked me if I used a gold-plated needle, and I think I scoffed, really. I thought it was a bit American.
Yeah.
But, of course, she gave me one that was just flashed with gold, and I stripped it in about an hour and a half. And then she gave me a good one. And I thought, OK, I know what I need.
There you go. So anyone who's tried it before, and if you've thought, oh, no, actually, I've stripped the gold, have a go with these. It's £15.99. It's not like you're paying...
No.
I think you could actually have gone, right, these are £30, £40, because the amount of needles you're getting and the amount of gold.
The amount of gold. And we always maintain, if you can prove you bought them from us, we'll replace them if you strip the gold off.
There you go, £15.99. Try them out, because you will find
they're marvellous.
You won't go back. How often do you need to replace these?
Well, that's an interesting thing, you see, because I don't think you ever need to replace them. But that's because I collect, as do all stitchers.
Yeah. You have more than one on the go.
Oh, yes. I have a box of them. That's another useful thing, actually. I'd forgotten to mention. I must just do this, because I was only playing with this yesterday.
I love how much you're referring to your book.
Well, this is...
It's not something you put away.
You know the little tins that you can get that have peppermints and things in?
Yeah.
I've got some blank ones that I intend to cover to make a stitching project. And of course I went into my box and I couldn't think which was which. So that's a 24.
24. There's you.
26.
So if you do... You know, these are all in order, but if they don't end up in order...
Well, when they're on, they won't stay in order.
No.
They'll be all over your work table with pins and buttons and brass rings and every other damn thing. Yes, that's what you need.
Brilliant.
Isn't it good?
That's really
and
handy.
I don't know how you do that, you see. It's a sort of mathematical progression that loses me. How do you print something life-size I don't know how that works.
No, I don't.
But it does work.
Whenever I'm talking about, upscaling patterns and
Yes.
things, I'm like, I've no idea how to do it. I
Yes.
just need them full size. And
Yes.
some people are very clever on the computer, but you're right. How do you actually print
How does
something
that
full
happen?
size? I don't know.
And Ethan designed it for us.
Ethan, well done. We
He's
love
so
you.
clever. He's
Very,
so
very clever indeed. So that's your gold-plated needles. We saw a needle in here that was perfect for Hardanger. Can we have a look at the Hardanger book? Because this
Yes.
is something that's actually, again, you do cover briefly in the, there is a little section in the stitch book.
There is a section there. This happened, some of you will remember this from past programmes. And this happened because, sorry.
Yeah, we can go this way now.
The camera's right around. And I've signed them all.
Oh, brilliant.
So this was because I came across Hardanger embroidery in Hardanger in Norway. And that's what it is, and that's a section of an apron from the national costume of Norway.
Right, so you might recognise this in period
Yes,
costume.
well, it's interesting that it's not period anymore. Look, this is current. This is the Utner family. This is not them, sorry. These are dummies. The Utner family on the Hardanger Fjord own the most magnificent hotel called Ullensvang. I'm going to give it a plug. They don't need me to do that. It's a remarkable place. Fifth generation families. Grieg practices piano in the grounds.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And this pinny here, this is Hardanger embroidery.
Gosh, that must have taken so long.
Yes. And often what would happen would be a woman would start her daughter's apron when the babies are born, Babies wear embroidery anglais versions because obviously this is serious stuff. And then this is just a bit about me and finding Hardanger and discovering it. This is the matriarch of the family wears the crown. Wow. So this is current. This is not a historical thing. If you go to Norway on national days, for weddings, your costume comes out and it's still worn. And they're very proud of their Norwegian nationality. So this is how you do. What we did was we photographed. It was quite a lengthy process. That's one of Ethan's diagrams, and then that's the knot, and that's the stitch.
When you learnt how to do this, did you have diagrams like this?
No, a lady called Ginny Thompson taught me.
Yeah.
She had a shop in Pawleys Island in South Carolina.
Okay.
And I was there at 8:30 in the morning and I had a one-to-one lesson.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I was writing about this yesterday because I worked a little scissor keeper in Hardanger and was shaking like a leaf to cut the fabric. And she gave me a beautiful pair of scissors to put on it. And I went home, Anyway, my dog buried it in the garden.
Oh.
My Charlie buried my scissor keeper and my scissors in the garden. Yes, so here's a progression. There's the stitch you did, and then there's the next one. And the idea is you work your way through the book, just to start with.
Really clear images.
Really, really clear, showing how and where to cut. And this gets better because there's it's cut, there's it's turned into that, and that's what you make. So the first thing you make when you try the book is that little scissor keep and put it on your scissors.
So it's something you use then as well, isn't
Exactly.
it? Useful things. Because
there it is
don't get me
again.
wrong, but I would love to be able to make a Norwegian apron, but you've got to sort of set yourself achievable goals.
Absolutely.
Otherwise you'll put yourself off.
Yes. And this is the chart for the little scissor keep. Now, if you notice, there's some red lines.
Oh yeah, that's where you cut.
That's where you cut. So we've given you all the technique. Now, interestingly, if you go to Norway, there are 3 or 4 stitches used in the aprons, generally. If you go to America, where people are designing Hardanger for people to stitch, there's hundreds of stitches.
Wow.
And in Norway, they refer to it as American Hardanger, because actually they did very few stitches on their costume.
Oh gosh, that's lovely. Again, it's still got
the wonderful Ethan does the charts for me.
It's still got all of it. It depends how you sort of learn, whether it be seeing it in photographs, in
Absolutely.
diagrams,
But
and in
practicing
text.
that it's only a little. And if you do what I tell you and just listen to what I'm saying in there and you follow it carefully. And the only thing I would say is if you take your scissors, if you were cutting threads, just suppose you were, you always make sure you can see the underneath point.
Right.
You see that?
Perfect.
You always make sure the underneath point is out. So when you cut your hardanger, I cut 2 threads at a time, and I always make sure I can see both. Scissors do no damage till they're closed. So as long as you can see both bits, you can't. And actually, it's common, people do cut an extra thread, and you can fix it by weaving in one of the ones from the edge.
Right, so
it's
can
very
recover
rarely,
it.
It's very rare that you wouldn't recover it.
Again, another little French knot.
Yeah, the demons get in everywhere, don't they? And then
I like these little project ideas as well. It
Yes.
isn't just, you know, a technique book. It's then got some lovely projects
Yes,
as well.
and the idea is that you can make this little bag using the techniques you've learnt and put all the little bits of equipment in it.
Brilliant. So, I mean, there's really lovely, achievable projects. I know that was the one that my mum wanted to do. She was watching
yes,
your
she
show.
said,
That's
yes.
really lovely. We've only got about less than 15 minutes left. So I do want to move on to the
Right.
Strawberry Sampler book because this is one of our favourites, without a doubt. Okay, talk me through the idea behind this. How do you get your inspiration to put together all of these kits? I know last time you told me that it was when you're peeling your potatoes.
Actually, the books are a different thing in that we have 3 or 4 within the Guild, and they start off as a lesson. Mm-hmm. So in one issue, you would get the cover in the Guild magazine, like so, and perhaps 1 page, and then you work through. So this is a cover with a lining. Then you've got some cross-stitch and French knots, a few extra stitches here, a little sampler, look.
Oh,
It's ever so pretty. And then this is pattern darning. Now, this is something you see very little of these days. We throw clothes away.
Right.
There is, I remember seeing, some of you will remember something called aquascutum. It was very posh.
Designer,
clothing. And this woman had a cigarette burn in a checked skirt. Mm. And this company in Cirencester, they pattern darned. So they darned it so you couldn't see it. By putting the pattern back in colour.
I'm with you,
and that's what this is about. So this is pattern darning. It's so sweet, look. And when I went to Mallet & Son in New Bond Street to look at their 17th century embroideries, in the other room they had a darning sampler, which was, I'm going to guess it was so big, framed. Guess how much?
I have no idea, go on.
£60,000.
Did you get 2?
It was beautiful and rare. There's the Hardanger embroidery again.
Oh, yeah.
With a coloured
I like
lining.
it with the colour underneath and the beads.
Yes.
Again, you can embellish.
You can embellish. This is a trick, this is pulling really hard. There is a saying that cross stitchers can't pull.
There you go.
They
Let's prove you
definitely
can.
can.
What's this called?
This is pulled embroidery.
Pulled embroidery.
This is cut work, and this is drawn. So this is where you've taken threads out.
So is that, again, similar to Hardanger?
Similar, yes. It's a different technique, but you end up with holes in the fabric.
Like this
Isn't
one
it
as well.
sweet? I know that.
Love this.
This is what I mean about this hobby. It's it doesn't end anywhere. No. It goes on and on and on.
I think a lot of people think cross stitch is just your simple cross and doing wall hangings of Home Sweet Home. And,
yes. And there's lots of other stuff. I mean, the books and the boxes and the little bits and bobs. Much of that has come because people say, I've got no wall space left.
Yeah.
You know, I've done tigers and lions and American Indians, ladies in big frocks. And actually they're running out of somewhere to put them now.
And these are all transferable things that you could then stitch onto all sorts. There's loads in here, by the way. This is such a big pack full of your charts. I've got a really good question, actually, really important questions come in from Anna. Hello, Anna.
Anna.
She said, good morning, everyone. Good morning. She says she loves the show. Oh, thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
She says, I'm an absolute beginner.
Yes.
She says, but I have the stitch guide. She says, if I was to buy the Strawberry Sampler kit, this one, would it be something that I can follow alongside the book?
Yes, I wouldn't. If you're an absolute beginner, I think it might be a bit over-facing.
Where would you go for Anna then?
I would go there.
Okay, so this is You what bow?
I think
Anna,
this
something
is
to work towards, definitely.
Yes, I'd love to say to you, yes, of course you could stitch this. There's no reason why you couldn't stitch it if you can count to 2. So there's absolutely no reason why you can't. I think to get that lot out of the packet, I say
It's
to
quite
experienced
daunting.
stitchers, don't look at the whole thing, work the cover.
Mm-hmm.
When the cover's finished, put it away and get page 1
Yeah.
and work your way through it, because it's been designed to get more complicated as you
Right.
progress. If you've stitched this in cross stitch on linen, you can do this. I think that would be fair. And that would stitch in an
We don't want
evening.
to put anybody off by
No,
saying,
no,
do you
no,
know
no,
what?
no, no.
I mean, I don't want you to get that and then think this is too overwhelming and put it away.
No, it's
and
a
never do one
smashing
again.
thing. And the people who walk up to me at shows where there's 4 or 5 of these out, and they look at them, and it is a considered purchase, you know, it's not 12 and sixpence.
Yeah.
And they look at it and think, actually, I do want to do that. I want to, and the ones who have worked it, one lady came up to me at the Stitch Festival we'd just done with hers finished, and she just said, can I just look inside? And she's like this, she almost shaking. And she said, I just want to check something. I've done it right. And it was how to put the pages in.
Oh,
And although there were
wow.
pictures, you know, there's nothing like seeing the real thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Photographs, you know, don't always tell the story, do they?
Yeah. So go and find Joan as well when you go to
Oh
any of the
yes,
festivals.
come and say hello.
Something to work towards, but a good place to start is your what bow.
Yes, and then put it on your scissors, and then you've got your first project. In an evening you can do that.
So these are squares, really, aren't
They're
they?
3 sides, 3 squares.
There's one
That's
square.
all it is.
2 square, and a third square. And you could do this in an evening.
Absolutely do it in an evening.
Everything that you need, including your scissors as well,
Absolutely.
for £12.99.
You can't go wrong. And those scissors might look tiny, but they're fiendish. I'm warning you.
Just like our Paul.
Absolutely, just like Paulie.
And again, it will teach you how to do your little your twist,
Twisted cord.
twisted cord,
How
and
to
they're
put it together,
useful.
how to stuff it.
Really, really useful. And you get the scissors for £12.99, and they are lovely.
And then, of course, you can stitch that. It would be easy to say, of course you can do it.
Oh, of course. I love the fact how honest you are, because you could say, do you know what, get the £50 one and have a go, and then you might pick it up and put it down. You want people to enjoy it.
I think it's terribly important for anybody learning a new skill to achieve something quickly.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
I don't kid yourself. I have, on my desk at the moment, I have, just a minute, 5 things that I'm working on. Mm-hmm. Plus 3 drawings that are coming along quite nicely. And my desk isn't as big as this.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm working on another one of these,
Right.
a different title.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Elizabethan Sampler Book.
Oh, brilliant.
To die for, it is going to be.
Nice.
It's in there. The basic things are coming along. I need to cook it a bit longer. So there's that coming along. There's a series of these coming along.
Oh, nice.
Slightly bigger. Each one is a season. And they're on the desk.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ready to go. So this is it. You're not just going to stick
It's
to
not one
but
thing.
if you're starting out, it's nice to go, I've finished it.
get it, and then you've got your scissors on your thing, and then you go to your next project.
That's it.
Manageable.
Just £12.99, and you've got something then that you can take to your classes, take to your workshops, keep on your
Exactly.
side, give as a gift maybe, and it's achievable. £12.99 is something you can do just on an afternoon. So, one of your newest projects, as we said, something that you're constantly creating and you're constantly thinking of new things.
Ah, yes.
This is absolutely one of my favourite pieces that you've brought in. This is just gorgeous. I love the bit of gold that you've added as well, the
Yes.
metallic threads in here.
So this was inspired by the old square, I'm going to call it the old square in Warsaw, where the houses are decorated in a similar style.
Wow.
And I thought that they were all old buildings. But in fact, Warsaw was flattened during the war, completely flattened.
So these were rebuilt?
These were all rebuilt. And do you know what they used as a template? Because it was actually flattened.
Yeah.
Canaletto paintings.
Did they?
To get the ideas of which buildings were where. And we stood in the square and I went, oh, there's a black work design. Just a minute, get out the phone. Because it was so obvious. So you work, this is actually worked in Holbein stitch, which sounds ever so posh. Basically, it's running stitch in one direction, and then you come back in and fill the gaps the other direction.
Right.
And you have to combine it with backstitch because otherwise you get up blind alleys and you can't go anywhere. So you use cross stitch as part of the roofs and things, and then you're going to use the black and the gold to decorate the buildings.
Nice.
A combination of 1 strand and 2 strand, and the gold you use as it comes out of the packet. It's just non-divisible.
I love it. And looky, little French knots as well on the doors. Or are they colonial?
It was. I can't remember. Is the honest answer. And when we were up at the Stitch Festival, I was there Friday and Saturday of the 4-day event, and we completely sold out of that.
Oh yeah, we're very limited as well.
Seeing the work piece, of course. You know, the kit is obviously on the website, but to see the actual finished thing on the wall was very attractive for the people, and they did like it.
Absolutely. It's when you get it home as well and you've finished it, it's absolutely
nice?
Beautiful.
And
would you do it house by house?
I would do the outline of the whole lot first,
Right, okay,
and then fill the gaps.
Yeah.
The other nice thing about this is, of course, again, when you've got the chart, you've actually got individual houses. They would make very nice individual projects.
Now these are coloured in as well, aren't they?
Absolutely.
They're the chart's coloured this time.
You can see, because where we've got the colour, it tells you whether you're going in gold or whether you're in black or whether you're in a sort of stone colour. So it's all there in the key.
Brilliant. £22.99. So Jane sold out at a recent shows of these. We're now in single figures on these. Now in single figures. It's been very, very popular indeed, and it's such a great price again. £22.99. Only just noticed how brilliant that is. Is this on linen?
Yes.
It's on linen.
Yes.
Okay, so Biscornus. We've literally got about 5 minutes.
There we go.
4 minutes, oh my
Well,
word.
4 minutes, here we go. I'll hold it like
time
that.
with you. We need to do a 2-hour special soon. So, the Biscornu, Lily in Ada and Linen in... Right, so they're both sort of... Well, your Ada's died, isn't it?
Yes. This is actually a mystery. This is linen.
Okay.
This is linen Ada, just to completely confuse you.
So, the linen on linen we'll go for first.
Yes. So that's the linen, which is what that's stitched on.
Right.
And you're going to work 2 identical squares. All right, and then you can see they're offset when you join them. That's the point of one square in the centre. It's ever such a clever shape. And the trick is to stuff them really well and pull the button really tight in the middle. You don't have to do that, but that's my preferred shape.
And that's a nice little pincushion then, isn't it?
Yes, lovely little pincushion.
And it comes with your little button and everything, and then the Ada. So will the Ada still be the same size as this?
Same size. So this is 14 count Ada, but it's a linen Ada.
Right.
Now linen Ada's costly, but it seemed worth it. This orange line along here is to make sure you know that is Zweigart and Zilkowski's fabric. It's the only fabric we use. It's the best embroidery fabric in the world.
There you go. Wouldn't expect anything
Come from
less.
me.
There you go.
Best embroidery fabric in the world.
Just £8.99. Another very achievable, useful project, isn't it? For
Again,
£8.99.
something you could try for a first time on either fabric.
Because
it's pure cross stitch. You see, there's not even any back stitch in it. It's just cross stitch.
Because they're so beautifully presented, they're nice as gifts for somebody that stitches as well, aren't they? Not just for you to stitch.
No.
And then in the box. Okay. Oh, we needed more time on this because this is really, really special.
Sorry, everybody.
We only have a handful of these left anyway. We would have started the show with this because it is just a showstopper.
Isn't it lovely? So this is worked on linen.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that we're going to work the cross stitch over 2 and the middle of the box there over 1.
Oh, it's the
ultimate. It's tiny, tiny. So this is not a first project.
No.
But it is an awful lot of cross stitch. The Biscornu, I fitted mine in there like that.
Right.
To stop it getting pinched, actually. But you don't have to, it could be loose. And there's a little tray for your threads to go in as you're working. And a watt bow.
You got a watt bow, and then you can keep all of your little notes in there, your scissors, your tools, needles, and this is everything that you need included in the box.
Absolutely.
Everything that you need to make it is in the box. It's a really, really special sampler box.
Isn't it sweet?
Oh, it
This was to
is.
celebrate 30 years in the industry.
Oh gosh, it's gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous. Really special. Everything that we've had is very, very limited today. So if you are watching on replay, it's definitely worth checking availability or ringing up, asking what is available, because there's a lot I think that's going to be sold out. Which is why we're going to need a lot of new product next time we see you.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday, everybody. All new, all different. Well, I expect the book, if I can find any more. But,
Hopefully we can bring that book. But we've got loads to bring,
yes,
haven't
so
we?
next Thursday I'm on the same time.
Oh, amazing. Give me a big hug. Thank
Yeah,
you
and
so
you.
much. We love having you
And I'm
here.
glad,
We absolutely
glad
love
you're not
it.
too jet lagged.
Just so you know, we're down to 15 of the gold needles. 15. That's it. Once they have gone, they have gone. Oh, I've put them back in well, haven't I? I need to get my chart out to see where they all go. But there's only 15 of those left. Do make the most of that. Do join us again tomorrow. I think we've got a new guest tomorrow. Is it Delphine? Delphine. So Delphine's a felter, and she's absolutely amazing. We've never had a felter before, so we're very excited about that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. See you next week.
Do make sure you join me again tomorrow at 9 o'clock. See you then.
Bye.